Hello, and welcome to the UKSIF Leadership Podcast and our very exciting 12 Days of UKSIF-mas series, where we will spend 12 days breaking down what we've been working on, big moves, and big news in the sustainable finance sector. I'm Anna, and today I'm joined by Madison for the 6th day of UKSIF-mas, where we will be covering the 6 planetary boundaries breached. So, the Planetary Boundaries Framework is a science-based global initiative dedicated to measuring and maintaining the Earth system. The framework identifies 9 processes and a safe operating space for humanity for each process. These boundaries are critical to prevent large-scale, abrupt, or irreversible environmental changes. Although planetary health has been explored in scholarship prior to this, these 9 planetary boundaries were first proposed by a group of internationally renowned scientists in 2009, and they've been monitored since. They include climate change, biosphere integrity, stratospheric ozone depletion, ocean acidification, biogeochemical flows, land system change, freshwater use, atmospheric aerosol loading, and novel entities. Each of these functions play a key role in ensuring that critical Earth system processes remain within the boundaries that support global stability, resilience, and life support functions. So, Madison, thank you for joining me today. I was thinking perhaps we could start with going over what the report from 2024 has told us.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Anna. Thanks for having me. This is such an interesting and crucial topic, and I'm really pleased to be able to speak to it. I will absolutely do my best. I am by no means an expert, but I think if we're looking at this year's report, the state of our Earth system has continued to deteriorate since last assessment in 2023. We're at the point now where 6, sort of 7, but 6 of the 9 boundaries are now operating beyond safe limits. I mean, the Potsdam Institute for Climate Impact Research, they've released a report just this past September, which was suggesting that we may have actually breached that 7th that I was mentioning.
So this is really concerning news. Maybe we can dive a little bit deeper into what are the 6 boundaries that we have definitely already breached.
Sure, no problem. So why don't we kick off with climate change? I think that's kind of the big one that everyone's really cognizant of. And if we're looking at climate change, this is talking about the change in the ratio of incoming and outgoing energy of the Earth caused by the increased greenhouse gases and use of aerosols. If we look to the next one, talking about novel entities, so this includes synthetic chemicals and substances like microplastics, endocrine disruptors, organic pollutants, etc., anthropogenically mobilized radioactive materials like nuclear waste, nuclear weapons, and also, human interventions in evolutionary processes, GMOs, genetically modified organisms, and kind of other direct modifications. So modification of biochemical flows, which is the disruption of the natural nutrient cycles of key elements. So nitrogen, phosphorus, this is going to affect farming, our food production, crucial for supporting life and maintaining ecosystems. So both the global phosphorus flow into the ocean and industrial fixation of nitrogen, disrupting the corresponding nutrient cycles beyond safe levels. If we look at freshwater change, this is a really intimidating one as well. So this looks at things like rivers and soil moisture, impacts on natural functions such as carbon sequestration and biodiversity. This can lead to shifts in precipitation levels, which is alarming. I mean, we've all seen, the flooding that's happened recently in Valencia. So human-induced disturbances of both blue water like rivers and lakes and green water, so soil moisture, they've exceeded the safe level. We can look at the 5th here, which is land system change. So this is the transformation of natural landscapes, through deforestation and urbanization, diminishing ecological functions like carbon sequestration, mentioned that earlier, moisture recycling, habitats for wildlife, all crucial for our Earth's health. The final one that we want to talk about here, if we're looking at 6, is the biosphere integrity. So this would be the decline in diversity, extent, and health of living organisms and ecosystems. This threatens the biosphere's ability to co-regulate the state of the planet by impacting the energy balance and chemical cycles on Earth. We alluded to that a little bit earlier. So both the loss of genetic diversity and the decline in the functional integrity of the biosphere, they've exceeded safe levels.
Thank you for filling us in on that, Madison. And as you said, we're already seeing effects of this throughout the year and across the globe, really. You mentioned a seventh boundary could have potentially been breached already this
Mm.
year. Could you fill us in a bit more on what that is?
Ocean acidification, which is huge. This is the phenomenon, increasing acidity and decreasing pH in ocean water due to the absorption of atmospheric carbon dioxide. So this process is harming calcifying organisms, impacting marine ecosystems, and reducing the ocean's efficiency and acting as a carbon sink. I mean, have you seen and heard what's been going on in the Great Barrier Reef in Australia? It's alarming.
Yeah. Another example of us seeing these boundaries breached and the effect it's having on the world around us. So, 6 out of the 9 boundaries have definitely been breached. We know it's bad news for one of the remaining 3. Can you tell us a little bit more about ocean acidification and how it's looking for one of the other remaining boundaries?
So ocean acidification is approaching that critical threshold, which we mentioned. So significant declines in surface aragonite saturation, particularly in high latitude regions like the Arctic and the Southern Ocean, as I mentioned. So atmospheric aerosol is loading regionally, and that's exceeding the boundary as well. Levels of atmospheric aerosols have just increased since industrialization as a result of the burning of fossil fuels and other forms of air pollution. So, adopting clean energy will not only prevent the boundary from being breached, but will also limit negative health effects for people and animals exposed to aerosols. I mean, I certainly don't want to live in that world. I already feel my lungs are struggling with the level of pollution we get in London.
Absolutely. I mean, we can feel it all around us here in London. How do these developments and what do these developments from this report that came out in 2024, what does it mean for our UKSIF members and for the wider industry as a whole?
I mean, I have a lot of conversations day to day with the members, Anna, and I think this really just highlights the importance of what we're all doing, highlighting the importance of sustainable finance. So, our work at UKSIF is more important than ever, and crucially, the work of our members as well. I mean, they're the practitioners day to day, boots on the ground, who are literally looking for ways to get capital into solutions in this area. Changes in one boundary, positive or negative, affect other boundaries. We've got these externalities that are happening. So, limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees requires tackling all of them collectively. We can't just choose one and hope that that's going to work. So the authors of the Planetary Health Check report point out that this is a holistic approach, and it's daunting, but it offers the potential to transform what seems like a burden into an opportunity for sustainable progress. I want to reiterate that. This is an opportunity. There's an opportunity for UKSIF members to capitalize on this and save the planet.
Yeah, I think that's a really important thing to point out. And it really, as you said, does emphasize the importance of the work that we're doing and that our members are doing. We are coming to the end of our time for this podcast, which hasn't been quite as cheerful as the rest of the episodes in this series, but obviously still a crucial conversation to have. Are there any positives that we can really take away from this year's Planetary Health Check to wrap up the episode on maybe a bit more of a positive note?
Absolutely. And I mean, you know me, I know the members know me. I always like to end on a positive note or look at some of the solutions. So there is one boundary that is improving, stratospheric ozone depletion. This is fantastic news. So the current total amount of stratospheric ozone is within safe levels and recovery is ongoing, which is fantastic. We're moving in the right direction with this. So values are still below mid 20th century levels. I remember when I was growing up, and you had a lot of these conversations in the 90s about, gosh, the hole in the ozone layer. Everyone was so stressed and worried, and it's so good to see that that is turning around. But that required a lot of policy intervention, and it did require intervention. I think let's focus on that. It is improving. This shows that human intervention works. It's possible for us to slow and even reverse our effects on the planet.
Yeah, I think that's a great kind of piece to end on. There is opportunity there. And as kind of bleak as this report kind of findings have been, there's opportunity and there's opportunity for our members to kind of keep doing the work they're doing. And hopefully we'll start to see some more progress soon.
Exactly.
Thank you for joining us on the 6th day of UKSIF-mas. And don't forget to tune in tomorrow for day 7. Remember to like and subscribe to be the first to hear our episodes.